Hi, it's Tom from TikTok. So many of you have asked me to address the following issues: renters being evicted, homelessness, the cost of living, the fear and depression our friends, neighbours, and families suffer across this country. What is the solution? You first have to understand the cause. How did we get here? Like everything in life, knowing the cause gives us a roadmap of how to reverse, change, undo those grievous wrongdoings perpetrated against this nation. Parking for the moment the retribution for those who brought us here, our focus right now should be stopping the mental torture for those who were forced into poverty, are homeless, and for those facing homelessness. They live every single moment of the day in fear, filled with anxiety and trepidation, depression, suffering from insomnia. That is no environment for children. Our elderly are most vulnerable, who can't heat their homes or afford to feed themselves, are abandoned. Every day another piece of your life is taken from you, scrimping by. More increases, more threatening letters. That mountain of bills erodes and controls every thought. It becomes all-consuming. History has an uncanny way of repeating itself. During the famine in 1845, we had Irish citizens dying of hunger and destitution. They were buried in paupers' graves. 178 years later, our homeless are being buried in paupers' graves once again. Nobody shows up to say goodbye or places flowers on their graves. Disregarded and disposed of. Collateral damage in this island of lies, deceit, and betrayal and hypocrisy. Let's look at the housing crisis, choreographed by our criminal banks who have been sitting on over 150,000 empty houses for 14 years, planned drip feeding to the market. They have 20 years' supply of houses. The Irish state have over 1.3 million acres of land. In Dublin alone, the state has 182 hectares of zoned residential land that would house 36,000 families. There is no housing crisis, just those in power manipulating the housing market to make billions from evicting Irish families, from ripping mothers from their homes, from denying our citizens the right to an affordable home. I don't have to tell any of you about the cost of living rocketing and utilities soaring, yet we have the Irish Commission for the Regulation of Utilities, the Competitions Authority, the National Consumer Agency, the Competition and Consumer Protection Commission, and none of them, not one of them, could stop the handful of billionaires making more billions from your gas, ESB, and the cost of living being deliberately hiked up to add more billions for the friends of our Irish-backed government who sold our natural resources, contrary to our constitutional rights. As on board Gosh and ESB make historic profits year on year, our citizens are forced into working poverty. Our banks have increased your mortgage repayments by an average of €600 per month, and yet they are making hundreds of more millions in profits, more than this year and last year and the year before. So much so that they're receiving over €1 million in salaries and bonuses for charging you 2 points higher interest than any other European country. They forced austerity taxes onto every worker in this country for generations to come. They are laughing at every one of you. They are the very criminals that scammed and robbed this nation with the assistance of the Irish government and their appointed judges. To everyone out there, those studying law, lecturers, barristers, solicitors in colleges, why hasn't one of you who claim to aspire to uphold the Irish Constitution, why have you remained silent as you ignore the torment of our families and the screams of our homeless? As you are fully aware, the constitutional rights of every citizen includes equality, fairness, justice, equality before the law, the right to a fair trial, protection of the family, right to bodily integrity, right to freedom from torture, inhumane or degrading torture or punishment. I ask every one of you, is the treatment of our Irish homeless not degrading enough? Not inhumane enough? Is the mental torture inflicted on Irish families trying to heat their homes and feed their children not agonizing enough? And the hundreds of thousands of Irish families denied access to justice not abhorrent enough? Is the discrimination perpetrated by our government in housing immigrants before our citizens not unequal, unfair and unjust enough? The Irish government's interference in the property has created an enormous social and economic inequality, causing social exclusion to our homeless and those facing homelessness. Such actions promote blatant discrimination and indoctrinates resentment and indignation. Would any one of you out there consider the actions and inactions, failures and negligence of the Irish government to be a blatant violation of the constitutional rights of our citizens? If so, and if you concur with my statement, please use your knowledge, your skill and expertise to expose those who care nothing for the rights of our people, those who've abandoned the very principles of our Constitution. History will someday identify those who done nothing and those who tried to create change. Thank you for watching. Please share this post.